10 Nights of Dreams Commentary. The mystery of the first night. Why was the man able to live 100 years in a single night? The truth of eternity and a day. An eternity of 100 years was locked within a single night's dream. A tale of ultimate love that breaks free from the spell of time. Introduction. Eternity in a Day. Are you familiar with the film Eternity in a Day? This work, which won the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival, is a story about an old poet facing death the next day from a terminal illness, who reflects on his life through an aimless journey with an unknown refugee boy. In this film, there is a striking scene where his wife once asks, "How long is tomorrow?" And the protagonist answers, "Eternity and a day." It is a word of resolve from one facing imminent death, expressing the intent to live by condensing their entire past life, that is, eternity, into the brief one day they have left. Actually, there is a deep spiritual resonance between this film and the first night of Natsume Soseki's 10 Nights of Dreams. This is because both stories depict the collapse of the boundary between the objective time ticked away by a clock and the subjective time experienced by the heart. Just as the film's protagonist saw eternity in a single day, the man depicted by Soseki locked an eternity of 100 years within a single night's dream. This time, I would like to delve deep into this beautiful yet mysterious fantastical tale from the three perspectives of religion, physics, and philosophy, to unravel the mystery of time that bound the man. Perspective 1. Religious perspective, Eastern reincarnation, and Western resurrection. The first is the perspective of religion. The man places the woman, who says, "When I die, please bury me," into a hole dug with a pearl oyster shell, and places a fragment of a star as a tombstone. A shell born from the sea, the source of life, and a star that fell from the cosmos or the heavens. This can be said to be a preparation for the Shinto or Buddhist reincarnation, returning the woman's body not simply to the earth, but to the macroscopic cycle of the great universe. On the other hand, applying a Christian perspective instantly deepens the meaning of the pure white lily that blooms 100 years later. In Christianity, the white lily is a symbol of the Virgin Mary, representing purity and innocence. Furthermore, a lily blooming in spring is also a symbol of the resurrection of Jesus Christ. The development where the woman, who quietly accepted, "I am going to die soon," reappears as a white lily after a long sleep, is exactly a Christian resurrection itself. The plump drop of dew falling onto the lily from far above represents grace or holy water from heaven, and the man's act of kissing it evokes a ritual of a sacred vow. The return to Eastern nature and the pure Western resurrection. Soseki depicts a magnificent religious fusion in this burial scene. Perspective 2. Physical perspective. Time travel of compressed time. The second is the perspective of physics. The greatest mystery is the true nature of the time of 100 years that the man spent waiting on the moss. As Einstein's theory of relativity shows, time does not flow equally for everyone. It stretches and shrinks depending on the state of the observer. The time of REM sleep, when humans dream, is nothing more than a few minutes to tens of minutes, according to the hands of a real-world clock. However, in a dream where stimuli from the outside world are cut off, and the synapses in the brain reconstruct memories at a furious speed, the information processing speed accelerates to the absolute limit. The man continues to count 1, 2, as the red sun rises from the east and sets in the west. This is exactly human reason desperately trying to apply the logic of reality to a dream world where the laws of physics do not apply. Even though it is an event of a mere single night on a real-world bed, an enormous amount of time, 100 years, is being calculated inside the brain. It can be explained physically that the 100 years the man experienced was an eternity of time travel compressed to the absolute limit, created by the locked room of a dream. Perspective 3. Philosophical perspective, Bergson's pure duration. The last is the perspective of philosophy. The French philosopher Henri Bergson called the objective time that can be ticked away and measured by a clock spatialized time, and the subjective continuous time that humans live inwardly, pure duration. At first, the man tried to measure time with an objective indicator, the light and shadow of the sun. However, no matter how much he counted, the promised day did not come, and he fell into despair, thinking, "Might I have been deceived?" Bound by clock-like time, at the very moment his reason was about to collapse, a green stem grew from beneath the stone, and a white lily bloomed. When he suddenly looked up at the sky and saw the morning star twinkling, he murmured, 100 years had already arrived. This was not a realization because the clock struck 100 years. It is the moment he existentially awakened to the fact that the weight of his continuous inner experience of suffering and waiting to the limits of his spirit had finally reached 100 years. 100 years had already arrived. At this moment of realization, the man was finally and completely released from the spell of time, brought about by the hands of a clock. The massive amount of time of 100 years was, in fact, equivalent in value to the momentary event of a single white lily blooming. This equivalent exchange of time is the true essence of this fantastical tale, narrating the strength of human love and will. Let us return to the film Eternity and a Day, introduced at the beginning. Just as the film's protagonist imbued his remaining one day with eternity, the man's resolve, in response to the first-night woman's question, "Can you wait?" was also a readiness to live an endless present that continues until the promise is fulfilled, rather than living on calendar time. That single night, when the man continued to count the suns on the moss, was not mere endurance. It was the duration of one long now, leading up to the moment his loved one was reborn, an eternal process to complete their love. How long is tomorrow? Eternity and a day. Perhaps what Natsume Soseki infused into the first night of 10 Nights of Dreams was also such a tale of a single night's love, compressed to the absolute limit, that could be called eternity.